how are you doing? Today I'm here with everything I watched in April. And it's gonna be a usual one because I barely watch any shows. My currently watching is extremely long, and I did watch a couple of movies, so it's not my typical thing. Typically I'm shows heavy, but I'm very excited to talk about everything that I did watch in April. Timestamps to the different categories are in the description if you want to jump around. And let's just get started with the 4 shows, like seasons, that I finished this month, which isn't a lot, I know. We're starting off with a season 2, which I give 3 stars to. This is a Flemish show, and I talked about it last month because when the season was airing I kind of like lost track of it, and now the 3rd season has come out and I needed to catch up, and I did just in time. But this season wasn't my favorite. I don't think it's bad at all. It was still very watchable and well executed. I thought the concept was very interesting. I just don't think it was just as captivating as the 1st season one and maybe that is because I predicted most of what was gonna happen. But very early on I predicted like nearly perfectly the ending. There was just like one small detail I didn't get right, but for the rest I got it all. So maybe that played into me just not being as enthralled by this. Then next I watched Mid-Century Modern season 1, which I gave 4 stars to. This is a new sitcom. You know what, I just wanted something fun and lighthearted to watch. It is delivered exactly on that. I don't think it is necessarily the best sitcom ever. It doesn't do really anything special, but it's honestly such a delight. It's such a delightful watch, and I had so much fun watching it. Then next I watched The Ties on Nubis season 1, which I gave 5 stars to. This was a rewatch. This is my baby. This is my all-time favorite show when I was a kid. I do have to say that it has changed as an adult, but like as a kid I was obsessed with this. Like I had the box sets, DVDs, and I would just constantly watch the show on loop. Like as soon as the last DVD of the last season was done, I would put in the first DVD of the 1st season again. That's how obsessed with the show I was. And I haven't seen it in years, but I'm really glad I decided to revisit it because this is just such a banger. It holds up so well. Like child me had taste, and overall I do think it holds up really well when it comes to like the mystery element and the personal drama, the humor and everything. I think that still holds up really strongly, and I just had a blast. I also think that this season is a great combination between like personal storylines and the mystery going on. I don't know, I just had a fun time, and there's the mid-season plot twist in this still has me gagged. I still love it so much. Even if I've seen it a billion times and I know it by heart, it still has me gagged. It does. Then last for the season watched already is Marvel's Luke Cage season 1. I gave this 2 stars. As you know, I am making my way to the Defenders universe. The original goal was to do it before Daredevil Born Again came out. I failed at that miserably. I didn't even finish it before that show was finished, but we're trucking along. I'm having fun, except not necessarily with Luke Cage, which is a shame because he already made some appearances in Jessica Jones, and I really enjoyed him as a character, so I was very excited for him to get his own show. But this just was a bore. I feel like these shows very much have a format which is 13 episodes that all are about an hour long, like 50 to 60 minutes, and it doesn't work. At least not for this show. It just felt so dragged out, which again is a shame because I do think the base storyline is very interesting. It's just that it's so dragged out and barely nothing happens in each episode because we need to, like, the time spent we spending is just too long for the plot we have. Then we are moving on to my currently watching list, starting with the shows I'm technically in the middle of. So I've watched every single episode that I can. I'm just waiting for new ones to be released. Starting off with Azize season 3, which, as I mentioned, I caught up with season 2 just in time for season 3 to be starting. I think this season is very interesting because it's very clearly based on real events. I mean, it's different enough, but I feel like the conversation is trying to have is very much based on a real life case, even if the case itself isn't. So I think that's interesting. And for the rest, I don't really know how to feel about it yet. There's a lot of moving pieces. The format has switched up a little, which I do think is good. I feel like that's also like a thing why I didn't connect with season 2 as much, is that it was very much the same format as the 1st season, and this one we switched up with the format a little, and I'm excited to see it unfold. Then next I also have Residence Beyond Waverly Place season 1, which I know technically in the US this one has finished, but we just recently got it here in Belgium, and it's releasing weekly, so I'm counting it. They are releasing out of order, which I think is strange, but it's a fun time. I generally do. The only thing that pisses me off is that it goes against the lore of the original show so often. I don't like that, but for the rest, it's fine. And then lastly, I'm technically caught up with these, is Milo season 2. This is still going. I don't know what to tell you. It's getting juicy though. Like, we're at a good part. And I know I say that every month, but like generally we're at a very juicy part right now. So some other shows I watched this month is the first of Yellow Jacket season 1. I only watched the first episode. I didn't really have a lot of time to watch this this month, but this is one that's been on my radar for a really long time, and I think season 3 just wrapped up, and it's been on my timeline a lot. It's been on my feed a lot, so I decided to check it out. I watched the first episode. I'm not a horror girly, and this is mainly because of the gore, and this is a cannibalism show, so I don't know how this is gonna go for me, but I really enjoyed the first episode. I have a lot of questions that I'm very curious to see the answers for. Another book in progress is Angel season 1. This is just going slowly because I don't love it as much as Buffy, but I'm having a good time with it. In fact, I'm pre-filming a couple of videos right now, and I'm literally watching an episode of Angel in between videos while I'm setting things up and everything. Next, we have Anubis season 2, which again is a rewatch. This season is so good. I forgot. This one gets paranormal. This part gets paranormal a little bit, like just a tiny bit. Like it isn't like a very paranormal show, but in this one, ghosts get a little bit involved, and it's so good. It's so good. This season is even better than season 1. Like it's peak. The next we have Marvel's Iron Fist season 1. Again, making my way to the Defenders universe. Iron Fist again is suffering from the 13 1-hour-long episodes because it's way too much. There isn't enough plot there. The next we have FC the Computer season 5, which is a rewatch. Just making my way through this, having a good time. What do I say? I have to say this season is like where I think the peak truly is for the show. Then we have the Cult Madame season 13. And I'm having fun with this season, which is strange because last season I didn't like as much because of it has a revolving cast of characters. I didn't like it as much because of the cast of characters. I didn't really like the dynamic that much, and there was only one character was switched out, and all of a sudden I'm having a good time. So there's that. And then we are moving on to the movies I watched this month. I have 6 movies to talk about. Told you. A surprise. Started off with No Hard Feelings, which came in 2023, and I give 3 stars to. This is a movie again that I've heard great things about over the years, and I was scrolling Netflix at the beginning of the month just trying to see for something to watch, and this was on there. I was like, why not? And I honestly had fun watching it. It is generally pretty mid, but I did think it was funny. It had some good laughs. I just think that it tries to have emotionally impactful moments, especially towards the end, but those didn't really feel earned. They didn't hit because I feel like the plot was just a bit rushed in that sense, and we didn't really get the development or depth for these characters for that to fully work for me. And now begins my big binge of the Hunger Games. Let's just give you some quick thoughts for each movie. Starting off with the Hunger Games, which came out in 2012, and I gave 4 stars to. I think this was just a great adaptation of the book. It's very solid. It stays true. Some changes aren't my favorite, but most of them are nitpicky. But I just think overall the stakes and the tension didn't feel as high as it did in the book. So for me, I wanted a bit more higher stakes. Then next I watched the Hunger Games Catching Fire, which went as in 13, and I gave 5 stars to. This was a surprise because Catching Fire is my least favorite book, but I ate this movie up. I loved it so much. It was so good. And honestly, again, a complaint for the book for Catching Fire was that I felt like the stakes were missing a little bit in that final half. That wasn't the case for this one. It just, it stayed so good throughout. I was so captivated throughout the entire thing. And then next we have the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, which counts as in 14, and I give 2 stars to. Mockingjay is my favorite of the books, so this was painful. But this movie was just a bore. Nothing happened. And this, I fear that is because we split this up in 2 parts, and that wasn't necessary. And then we also, of course, watched the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2, which counts as in 15, and I give 3 stars to. I liked this more than Part 1, mainly because it wasn't a bore. This did have me captivated, trying to entertain it. It moves very quickly, a bit too quickly at times generally, but this was very action based. I feel like it is definitely wanting to present itself as an action movie, and therefore the plot suffers, and therefore also like the emotional moments towards the ending just fall flat because we rushed through the plot, and therefore we didn't really get the development, the significance behind some of these moments properly. Then lastly for this month is the Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which comes in 2023, that I give 2 stars for. I struggled with this one because I think the movie is basically split into 3 parts, just like the book is, and part 1 and 2 is a fantastic movie. I think it does again have some nitpicky changes from the book that weren't my favorite, but like are nitpicky, no big deal. But overall, I think it's a very compelling, great movie, which reaches a perfect climax, and then it continues into part 3, and that's shit. That's generally shit. That should have been a separate movie. As much as I think Mockingjay should have never been split up, and it definitely worked to its detriment to split that book up, this one should have been split up. It should have been 2 different movies. I feel like that would have been way better. And yeah, that is everything I have for you today. Let me know in the comments which of these shows or movies if you watch them, and then hopefully I'll see you next time.
Here I am again, the same old situation. Why does the God thing have to be so complicated? Should've played